Well, hello, hello. Good to see all your smiling faces. That's great. That's nice. Glad you made it. I see we have a little spectator in the audience here. Not quite tall enough.
No.
All righty. I was going to pose a question tonight to everyone, and I know all of you want to learn mediumship and work with your mediumship and learn how to really develop it in a deeper and better way. And I was going to pose a question and say, in what way are you really wanting to work with it? Is this in a private level? Is this a level where possibly you'd start reading for people or you have been reading for people? And how much of that is something that you're really interested in? And in what level are you working with it now? And I'd like to pose that question to everyone. You can think about it for a moment. And I'll work with each one of you on what you have to ask, and then I'll go into explanations. But I'd like to hear what everyone has to say, and then we'll go from there with explanations about how and why and how it works. All righty?
So we'll start with Nancy. I'll unmute her. Okay.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello. So I want to work with mediumship in a more of a private way with family and friends. I do some readings for some people now, and some things come through, but I'm still not very strong with the mediumship.
Uh-huh. Well, I feel working with it in a meditative manner, and I'll share this with you as it's more directed to you, but it's also something everyone else can gain from also. And that is when you're doing the practicing like that and working with someone, be it family or friend, just ask them to respond to you verbally. And if they don't know, they don't know. They can say no, they don't know. But to ask them to respond so you get response energy, because what we a lot of times miss is return energy. We can be giving things and we're not getting a return energy from the person. And it makes it a much stronger connection and message if we really make sure they're communicating. If they can say hello, say yes, say no, answer to what's being said, makes a huge difference. And sometimes I notice with people, they'll sit back, and I've had some people say, for example, in my own readings, I'll have them sit back and they're a little in shock with what they're getting, so they're not really responding or saying anything. And then I've also had a few people that sit back and go, well, I'll get more if I don't tell them anything, you know, and that's just really absolutely useless, because what it does is it shuts down the reading. And we're needing to open up to the idea of allowing it to come through. And this is where, if you're going to read for someone, I would put them in a position that they need to answer. If they don't answer, you don't read, and just keep it that simple. And I feel it's something there that way there's a response pattern you get. Like when I go out to Inspiration Stump, I'll be reading for someone, and I said, I'll respond to them and say, is that right? Is that true? And get them to respond. And I explained it like a phone call. If you don't answer, there's no one on the line, you hang up. And that's something there that I find is the best way to motivate them, is to get them to communicate. And when I'm in a circle over at fellowship, I always ask them, what are you feeling? And I draw people out. And not all of you would be able to focus on doing that right now, but the idea of getting them to respond and verbalize back to you, so it's a real tangible energy that's so needed. And even if you pick something up and just it's random, have them respond, have them answer. And I think that'll make a big difference for everyone. When you're reading for people that I would term strangers, that you're not necessarily real close to, it's like getting them to respond will help build the energy and the confidence within you, as well as build the connection, because the more you're picking up on it, the more they respond to it in a verbal manner, the more energy flow occurs. It just keeps building. I've had it happen where I could be sitting reading for someone and they're responding, and the energy flow becomes so great that sometimes I'd feel almost overheated, like my whole body temperature would go up. And I feel like that can happen with you also, and I do believe it has.
Yeah. And then
And
what
go
about,
ahead.
do you have insurance?
Do I have
Do you
what?
ever insurance? I know when I took, Reiki classes and I became a Reiki master, if I was going to go public with that, our master, that taught us, advised us to get insurance. I just wondered if that's something that you would do.
Well, I have business insurance that would cover things here at the office or anything. And I have homeowners insurance that would cover anyone tripping on the steps, that type of thing. But it's something there that you can choose what kind of insurance you really would rather have and what would be the coverage that you feel you need. Now, I don't do a laying on of hands in person, and I don't do that at all with clients that I work with. So it's not touching anyone like you would a healer. And I work with healing in an absent healing manner, but I don't have the focus of insurance for that because I just don't go there. I don't do that.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense.
Good. Any other question?
No, not at this time.
All righty. Thank you. Someone else has a question?
We're going to go around.
All right. We're going to go around and ask each person.
So we'll start with Richard. Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Hello,
How you doing?
doing well.
Good. What would be your question about the mediumship?
I don't have a specific question. I really, it's not to do public or private sessions. It's more for my own personal work, my own personal growth.
All right. I would suggest something for you that I think would work very well. Not that you want to work in a public manner, but I could see other people around you that have interest in the same things and that you'd be able to share back and forth with them your ability to pick up things and feel things, which would really enhance your ability in your own private life, no matter what part of your life it would be in, it would enhance it. And not that you're looking to do this in a public manner, but I could see other people that I would term also students too. They're needing to learn, they're wanting to learn, and to be able to impart that and share that. When I'm teaching over at Fellowship and doing the school teaching, I always set people up where they can give messages back and forth. And that makes huge difference because, excuse me, once you're in tune to it and you start picking up, you then realize you're building a bridge of energy. And that bridge of energy will start to manifest more and more, and it gets stronger for you. And you're able to pick up on that person. And again, you make them respond. You have this communication verbally, but it's something that will help you in your own life because what it does is it builds a bridge of energy and allows you to really know what you're feeling. And it comes in strong enough that there's no question. You could state something, they could answer you, and you know you're right. And I think that would build for you wonderfully. And if you have some people around you that are interested in this and just practice, between yourselves, that would be wonderful. And it's not something that I'd term a public thing that you're going out and doing, but it's a sharing of energy in that manner. And I think you'd be amazed how quickly you'd find yourself in tuning into more. I work with people all the time, and I find that there's different people the energy works super good with. And there's other times where I'm picking up good, but they're not responsive to the energy, or they pull back and shut down some. And I feel for you to experience it and allow yourself to put your energy out there, it'll make a difference and it'll really help you with your own ability.
Okay.
And you have some people around you that are interested in the same things?
Not really.
Well, I was going to say to you, the contacts you have through this class, maybe someone here that would be interested in talking with you, and you could share things back and forth as a practicing ability to see what you feel.
Okay.
And that'd be great for you to do because you do have a good ability. And I feel the energy around you, the confidence of allowing yourself to go with it because you've had some things happen that you knew you were really dead on with, and it worked very well for you. And there's a need to follow through on that.
Okay.
I think that'd be a huge help. And when I'm talking about building a bridge, it's a real bridge of energy that starts to be manifesting between two people. When I'm teaching a fellowship or I'm teaching a class in fellowship, I work with the energy and I can see the bridge building with people. Like I'll have them when we first do the meditation, then we'll do the prayer, the meditation, and we come out of the meditation, and I'll say to people, now take time to look around the circle at each individual. And as I do that, I'm asking them to concentrate in the meditation to focus on the idea of spirits coming through in a way that we may recognize and understand. We do the same thing when we're working with someone else. And that way, we're setting that whole intent of spirit helping us, working through us in a way that we may understand. And then when you have the other person there, and like we do in the circle, you're looking around the circle at each person. And then one of them's going to stand out, or two of them will stand out, sometimes even more. And it'll be a feeling of, am I getting something for them, or am I getting something from them? And it's something you'll feel, and it builds a bridge of energy. And I've watched the bridges of energy rise and fall in a sense of they get really, really strong, and then they'll die down because one of the people involved in it would back off from it and go, well, I don't really know, or I don't have enough to say. And you watch the energy, linger and drop. And it's something that it doesn't matter if you only have one word or you have a small sentence. That's what you're needing to present and share. So
Okay.
if you have someone you can be talking to, even on the phone, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be in person, and you can talk to them on the phone even. And that way, just practice it back and forth with what you're feeling. And I think you'll be amazed how well you'll pick up on it, because once you sense the energy flow, it's the bridge building, and it's going to work very well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
When I teach a class, I can feel the energy building in a group of people around me, and I can see the energy with each person and which ones are building up to share something and which ones are receiving more than giving. And then they start to really build an energy where they start to give more too. Any
Okay.
other question?
Pardon me?
Any other question?
No, I don't have any other question at this point. No.
All righty. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, now we'll go to Jean. Jean.
Hey, Jean.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
I would like to work with this in a manner so that I can get these, sorry about that, these vibes, so to speak, wherever I am with people that I'm interacting with at work or socially or whatever. It was really neat to be able to do readings for people in the circle when I was up at Lilydale. I don't
Yes.
know that I'm quite ready to do that in a public manner,
Yeah.
but I would like to receive like all the time, every day, no matter what I'm doing. And I don't know how to set the stage for that, to say a prayer like at the beginning of the day or during the day a couple times, or how do you do that?
Well, if you start with a prayer during the day, in the beginning, you wake up in the morning and you have a short meditation and just set the intent to may God guide me in the way that I could understand and be aware of, and to ask Spirit to come through in a manner that's a message and guidance for you. And start with you first, in a sense of saying, I'm asking for the guidance. And that way, you're going to have events in your life happen that are going to be something that you'll feel what the outcome will be, or you'll feel what's coming. There's moments I'll get up in the morning and I'll just do the regular thing, brush the teeth and get going. And then something will come to me that it's like, okay, be aware of this today, be aware of something else today. And by being aware of it, we're then asking Spirit to help us and direct us. And that can make a huge difference, huge, huge difference. And it's going to allow you to be more in tune. Now, the reason I say focus on you first is the idea that you can pick up on things through your life all day if you want to, but it would make you a little crazy. And it's something that you're needing to really look at it as asking for the specific guidance for you, and what guidance and protection would you have or need. And that way you're going to know things and feel things ahead of time. And it may come in a feeling, it may come in words, it may come in a direct energy that you're going to sense. And I feel with you, you have the ability that spirit can speak to you. I just feel with you, sometimes you get it confused between your own thinking and what spirit's giving you. And at times it becomes frustrating because it's like, wait a minute, was that from them or is that from me? And I feel like you at times can get pulled in between on that as to deciding which it is. But what's really unique is once you do it a little while, you start recognizing, wait a minute, that feeling came from spirit, and I recognize it as from spirit, and it's not something that you have to debate or question.
Yeah, I do have trouble recognizing where it's from. And it's a little less formal if you do it during the day than if you're sitting in a circle or sitting in the class. I mean, it's like really structured in the class. You say
Yeah.
the prayer and then you set the intent and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, getting messages all day is not what I'm talking about exactly. It's like being able to relate with people better no matter what situation I'm in.
Yes.
Building rapport, I think, is one method of communicating like that. Just getting more intuition as to how to have the best outcome for whatever situation it is.
Well, when you start out your thought in the morning and you set the intent, I feel that'll build the energy right there. And ask spirit to come to you in a way that you may understand, and please share with you the guidance as to how to handle whatever situation it may be. Doesn't matter whether it's private, work, family, wouldn't matter what it would be. You're just asking for the highest and best outcome. And by you asking for the highest and best outcome, it's going to make the difference for you, and it's going to bring the harmony to you that you really wanted and needed.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes to, with everything going on, like at work and different places and all the drama with the family members and all that,
Yeah.
to just receive it without, I don't know how to say this, the other extraneous stuff is like swirling around and you have to like go like this, and push it away and
Yes.
make a clear space. And it's hard to, when you're at work, it's hard to do that. Is there a better way to make that clear space? You can't sit at work and meditate, but I mean.
Well, the clarity you have there is, like when I work with psychic fairs, I can tune everybody out around me. And I remember in the past mentioning about the candle burning on the next table, and she caught all the stuff on fire. And I find that if you're really focused, you built the bridge is there, that you're asking spirit to help you, you're not going to get off track. And it's going to come through to you very powerfully and very clearly, without a doubt. And I just feel with you that your mind goes so quickly from one thing to another that it's very difficult for you to really center yourself on one axis and stay focused there. And as you start practicing that on a daily level, that's going to happen more. As well as also, just like the work energy, you got all this craziness going on around you. And I feel once you start to put that aside more and your intent and focus is very in depth on what you're doing, won't be a problem. It'll work very well.
You mean even though I'm focused on something at work, it'll still come in?
Sure. It'll come in.
Okay.
Remember, when you're setting the intent, you're setting the intent for the harmony for the day. You're asking spirit to guide you in every aspect of the day to bring the harmony, calmness, and the highest and best outcome. And by doing that, you're now opening that whole door to that energy, and that flow will be there for you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to go to Sri. Whoops.
Hello, Sri.
Maybe we'll come back to Sri.
We'll come back to Sri.
Okay. Now we'll go to Susie and John.
Hey, Susie.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Hi, John.
I would, well, I guess I should speak for both of us. I think we would both like to be able to do private and family.
Yes.
And could I get his feelings? Like, since he's not able to speak any longer, I'd like to be able to know what he's thinking. So it's not so hard for him to relay everything to me.
Well, I feel you're going to be doing that already. I feel there's an energy around you that you're beginning to manifest that already with your thought and intent. And to work with him more in that way, because I feel there's going to be certain signals that you're going to feel that it's either yes, I want to, no, I don't. And there's going to be more messages in that form, and it's going to keep coming through to you stronger. And at a meditative level, when the both of you are in a calm space, I feel that you could John, throw out a thought and put the thought out there, something simple, and you'd pick up on it, Susie. You'd feel the energy and pick up on it. And it's something that you can practice that. When I was a child, my grandmother used to send me messages all the time. And I'd get home from school and she'd say to me, she said, "What did you feel today from me?" And I would explain the times I felt the energy, and at times I'd even remember and say, okay, that was 2 o'clock, that was 1 o'clock, and I felt the energy and what it meant. And it was something that was very powerful, and it worked very well. I remember being on a farm like 3 miles away, and I was on the farm, and my grandmother was calling me in my mind. And she was calling me, and I said to my friends, I said, I don't know what's wrong, but I got to go home. And I went out through the fields, and it was a 3-mile hike to get home. And I got home, and here she wasn't feeling good, and my mom and dad were working, and she wasn't feeling good, and I watched over her and took care of her at that time. But she was sending me the thought, and I could feel the intensity of it, that she really was having a problem and didn't feel good. And that sometimes can be the motivator that really puts it over the top, because you're really feeling it and it's strong. It's an intense energy. But as you put out the thought and practice little things. My grandmother used to say to me, pass the salt. And she'd say it in her mind. And I would pick up the salt shaker and hand it across the table to her. So it's like you can do things like that and practice things like that. And, there's going to be moments you're going to look at it and go, well, do I just know he uses the salt? But it's the idea of when you're feeling it to follow through on it.
Okay.
And that works out wonderfully. It's really a nice practice point to do that. And I have to say also, I didn't plan on reading for people right now in a sense of reading for them, but your dog is with you and loves you and watches over both of you. And I feel you have felt him at the side of the bed.
Mm-hmm. We see
And,
her as we go through the house in the corner of our eye.
yes, because she's right there and she's around you, John, and she's watching over things for you. And I felt very at peace with her, but it's a very loving energy that her presence is there and so supportive.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah. And Susie, you've been having some things happen where you're beginning to see more, where at times you're wondering what it was, but at first you see it and it's there, and all of a sudden it's like, well, as soon as my consciousness gets a hold of it, it then seems to disappear.
Okay.
And you've been noticing the walkway between what would be your counter and where you could sit and eat and the front door. You've seen movements walk through that area a few times now. Because I see spirit there, and they're wanting you to know they're around and they're helping.
Good. Good.
And John, I kept seeing a gentleman in spirit that I feel with him, he was a stoic man when he was in the living. He was very stoic, very quiet man. But I felt a very strong energy from him that he's around you. And I feel there's times he's guiding you and helping you and wants you to know that the spirit world is there helping. And it is a healing energy.
Good.
And you went to John and thought he was gaining, that you thought that he wanted something and he didn't want something, but that was spirit letting you know that they're practicing with you, Susie.
Okay. Good.
And you'll feel it. You just need to relax because you're going to pick up on more.
Good.
And I know your trip north was just a wild energy of one thing to another, and it was just so crazy that you couldn't even settle down.
We couldn't, but it was fun. But we're glad to be back in our
Yeah.
own little quiet place.
Well, I think it's wonderful. Sorry we missed you, but you guys will be together, and we'll come down and see you there when we get there.
Good. Good.
Sometime after Thanksgiving, we'll be headed down.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
Yes.
We'll be
Good.
ready.
Any other question?
I don't do you. I think we're good for tonight. Thank you.
All righty. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Now, sweet.
Sari. Wait,
Hi, it's
wait,
Sarai. Oh no, my dog is gonna start making noise every time I'm. How are you, Reverend? How are you, Leslie?
Bye.
doing good.
I haven't. Okay, recently I went to I'm a member of the KC organization, and they had like a little picnic, and I thought I was gonna do healing. Anyway, I ended up doing a little chakra clearing on someone, and he did a reading on me. Like he was a medium, psychic, and so I watched the way he was working, and he was, I had wrote a question on a piece of paper, and he said he wasn't going to look at it. So, but he put his hand over it, and he said that not to tell him anything, he was going to tell me what he was getting. So he got a lotus flower, but then he seemed to not trust that that meant anything. Like he just got an image of a lotus flower. Then he got an image of a sunflower. He was asking me, does that have anything to do with the question? So I said, well, not exactly, but I didn't want to discourage him because, I'm assuming spirit is sending him for a reason. Eventually he started zeroing in more on stuff that seemed to relate. But after we had the reading, he actually, I thought he did well, but after the reading, I was thinking, I can't do that. Like, I'm not very good with words and at counseling people. Like I'm not even visual, so I thought, oh, maybe this mediumship for me. And I'm thinking more like Jean, that I should probably just use it for my personal, and healing is more my thing. But then once in a while things happen, I'll ask you more about that later. But I don't know, do you think I have any talent for mediumship, or it's more like more healing is more the thing for me?
I think you love healing, and I feel the healing energy is very much manifest for you, and you're going to work with mediumship more. But what happens is you have the interest in healing, and what you're doing is practicing, because healing is also a part of mediumship, and you're learning to go through with the healing and follow through with it. And it's something that, like myself, when I work with healing, I do a lot of absent healing. I'll have some of my thoughts, like I did a radio show this morning in Dunkirk, New York, and there was a couple people there that I mentioned to them that I would keep them in the thought of healing. And what I do is I mentally make a note, and I put out that intent and energy for them, and I focus on them in that manner. Now, I may not know them to know them, but, recognizing the name, recognizing the voice, I just tune back into what we shared in a verbal manner, and I tune in the healing in that manner. That's the link I make. And with you, you do a lot of healing, but you have at times trouble with the physical world because you have so many things going on around you that at times can divert you more.
That's true. Yeah. I've always had a strong interest in healing, but I've had certain experiences that seem mediumistic, and I've always had a great interest in like mediums and the spirit world. I don't know why. I'm 58 now. My whole life, I've had an interest in that. And, I have experiences. So I'm like, so because of that, I guess I tried to study, but then I'm like, but I'm not good at giving people advice, and I'm not very good with words, and, but I'm good at channeling energy,
You have to remember something. It's not you giving it. It's what spirit gives you to give. And once you get the clarity and you build the bridge where you recognize that you're getting it from spirit and you share that, you're not then going to be looking at it as counseling. You're not going to be looking at it as what you're thinking. What you're thinking doesn't matter. And that's where once you get calm enough that you really recognize that, okay, that's spirit, that's what they gave me, it's going to make a huge difference for you. And I don't feel you've gotten there yet consistently. You've gotten there at times where it's worked well and you surprised yourself, but that was not the regular thing that you could turn on and turn off. And now you're learning to be able to turn on and turn off more energy and allow yourself to go with what you're feeling and recognize more also that it's from spirit and not your thoughts or feelings or emotions or your response to trying to counsel. Forget the counseling aspect. It's the idea of you focusing on what spirit gives you. And if we just really look at what spirit gives us and we stay out of the way, spirit will give us a lot, and it'll be a wonderful guidance, and it'll help us a great deal.
Okay, I'll do that.
Think about it in that form and that belief system, and you're going to start building more rapport where spirit will come to you and give you certain things. And remember something, don't expect spirit to give you something where I'm going to have sentence after sentence after sentence after sentence. That not necessarily happens. And when you get a feeling of, they may give us one feeling of directing us in a certain direction. The next feeling may be more detailed about that direction. And, sometimes we get impatient and we want things to happen so fast, and we want it to happen not only fast, but very motivated, let's get it all out there. And I feel the energy there that you've had such chaos in your life around you between family and everything you've had going on, that at times you function it really well and you keep it all going. But that's where now we're almost reversing the energy and bringing it back to a point where I can be calm and peaceful in my own life and not be caught up in that. And that's what I'm seeing starting to really manifest.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I do get gut feelings. That's true. And I guess that's spirit, I get gut feelings about what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And yeah, I don't know if I should ask you about something related. It's kind of related to this, but it's a message like through a friend of mine that had a dream about my granddaughters.
Go ahead.
And, yeah. Okay. A good friend of mine who throughout the years would once in a while dream of me whenever I was going through something challenging. She dreamt recently of my little granddaughter who's 4, and she dreamt basically that somebody took her, it seemed, and then my friend was knocking on the door and a man answered and there were men in there and he was like, "What?" And then he threw the door in her face. And when she told me the dream, I had a feeling that this was related maybe to my granddaughter's father, whom my daughter's trying to take to court right now because she wants money, she wants him to give some money to the baby, but he's a drug dealer. So I'm kind of afraid of him. I have a gut feeling that she should leave it alone, not bother him, because I'm wondering if the dream meant that he could possibly try to abduct her or something. I don't know. I feel like that dream that my friend had for me about my granddaughter was related to my granddaughter's father, maybe somehow.
Well, I feel you're right, because I feel an energy there. That gentleman doesn't have, let's say, respect for life and respect for other people. And I see him with the attitude that he should be able to just do whatever he wants to, and the laws and rules of the world don't apply to him. And I feel your daughter is having to go after him in a sense of saying, here's child support. But I'd see a limitation being placed on things, because what I feel he's afraid of is that she would be able to turn him in for drugs and he'd end up in jail over it. Because I feel with him, he's dealing all the time. And I feel an energy with her that for a long time she went along with a lot and allowed a lot of that to occur and didn't really resist it. And now she's at a point where she's now resisting it, and she doesn't like it and doesn't want it. And that's what I see her now having to face, because I see an energy with him that he's a person that gets very, very angry. And when he gets angry and he gets messed up on whatever he's taking or drinking, that can be a real mess. And at this time, he has visiting privileges with the child?
No, because he has a girlfriend. So my daughter started, getting him, like trying to get him in trouble with the girlfriend, some drama. So then he got mad. So he stopped sending the baby any money, and she stopped sending the baby to him. I mean, I don't really feel even comfortable when she goes over there, because we don't know where he lives. We don't know anything about him, and my daughter knows this, and she doesn't allow my mother and I to know where the baby's going. But anyway, that dream like really freaked me out, like some men.
I wouldn't doubt it a bit if he would try to threaten controlling the child or having the child with him, and your daughter needs to do a little more growing up here and become more mature in her attitude and the way she's handling things. Because if she wants to play the game, she's dealing with a game player that's a master, and she has no ability next to his.
You know, it's funny. I had a feeling of that too. It's so weird what you're saying. You're confirming what I was feeling.
Well,
Hmm.
I feel it's confirming what you're feeling, but it's also something there that she's choosing to be very immature in her aspect of what she's doing, and it's really borderline trouble, and that she needs to wake up and figure out the real world here because he doesn't care.
So can I do anything to avert, like to protect? I mean, I've advised her to not go to court against him. I mean, I don't know if she's going to do that. I don't know if that's the solution. I've advised her to just not deal with it because his sister even threatened her, like made a threat, like he was going to bring his lawyer. And I get the feeling that he would try to take custody of my granddaughter. I have that feeling. So
Well, I feel with him that he would try to make it out that she's been in drugs or she's done things with drugs and turn it around on her, that all of a sudden she'd be in hot water over it, and he would have people document proof that is lies, but he'd make sure that he has somebody saying it. So just be aware of the idea that your daughter needs to wake up and grow up and get a grip on the idea of what she's really doing, because in some ways she thinks by threatening she can get away with it. It's not going to work. And I feel an energy there to go after the child support. I understand going after the child support, but the feeling I have there, does she want him seeing the child or not?
that
You know,
what?
does she want him to see the child or not?
Yeah, I don't know. It almost seems like before she would let him see her for getting in return for getting money, which I think is horrible. That's like selling your kid. But I don't
Well,
know.
I just feel an energy there, dear, that I know he could get pretty erratic. And I feel an energy from him that I wouldn't put it past him to try to take custody of the child. And you then don't know where the child's at or how the child's being treated. And the environment the child would be in would certainly not be the best.
Yeah, in the dream my girlfriend had, my granddaughter was screaming behind the door. That's when she went and started knocking on the door. And there were men inside that room. And there was a man that opened the door and said, "What?" And then he threw the door in her face. And when she said it, I thought of him. I thought of the baby's father. So, I mean, so should my daughter not go to court against him then? Would that help to like
That's
appease it?
a decision she's going to have to make. But I'm going to say it this way. There's a real difficult energy here with her because obviously she's not too mature in some of her attitudes.
That's true. That's
And I feel an energy there that if she's going to go to court, number one, and she was receiving money before, you know, keep her mouth shut and let the money come in. But it's also an energy where I see her have to make sure that she's not doing something out of line, that they can turn around and nail her for it.
Yeah, she works in a strip club. She sells liquor in a strip club, and she looks like a stripper the way she dresses. So I know they could say that she's maybe a prostitute or something, even though she says she's not, but they could say
Well,
that.
the feeling I have, dear, is simple. If she doesn't straighten her act out, they can turn it around on her, and they can make her look bad, no matter whether she did anything wrong or not. You know, and it's something that she needs to sit back and look that over.
Okay. So if she backs off, hopefully will he leave her alone, I hope? I don't know if she'll back off. I'm telling her to back off. She's saying she probably will, but with her, she says one thing, then she might change, but
Well, let
I
me
don't know.
say it this way. For you to have calmness, you step back, and whatever she does, it's her decision. I would no longer try to counsel her on it. I would just, you've made your statements and you let it go at that. And God bless her, she'll have to figure it out.
My concern is the safety of my granddaughter. I don't want her being taken away.
Well, I don't feel she at this point in time is going to be taken away. What I feel there is if your daughter wants to really throw mud at him, he's going to turn it around on her and he's going to make her look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're confirming what I felt. I felt that. I felt he would do that. You're saying, yeah. You're saying
Just
what
be
I felt.
calm. Let go of it. You can't fix her. That's her choice, what she's doing. Any other question?
Okay, I'm just very worried about my grandbaby. You know, that's
How old's your grandchild?
I'm praying a whole lot. She's here actually. She was here a minute ago. She's 4 years old.
Okay.
And she dreamt of my ex-husband, her grandfather, the same day that my friend had the dream. He was playing with her in the dream. And my friend said, well, maybe that's that he's trying to protect her, you know?
I feel the grandfather's protecting her and watching over her all the time. Yeah. Good energy, dear. You'll be fine.
Thank you, Reverend.
Okay, it covers everybody. What you want to do?
I was going to pose a question to people in the class here. I sometimes don't remember my dreams, and then at times I'll remember them during the day, and it's well after waking up and getting going for the day, and it'll come through to me. I may be reading for someone, and something will pop in that I dreamt. And how many of you have had dreams that not necessarily did you remember them right in the morning, but then they came to you later in the day? Raise your hands. Okay. Now, how many dreams do you have where you would have the clarity of seeing, feeling, smelling, touching? You'd have a recognition of either someone's presence or the environment you're dreaming about, that you'd really, really know you're there. Okay. You know, sometimes I have dreams that are so vivid that I could touch the countertops in the dreams. I could hug someone. I could feel or smell energy and people around, what the scent would be. And I've had it happen many times. And I believe that we're stepping out of the body astrally and traveling. And when we're traveling, it's a little different than a regular dream would be. Sometimes regular dreams would be a dream where it's sort of vague. You know, you may see it, it may be black and white, but then you have other dreams that come through as color and are very vivid, and will have the ability to smell things and feel things and sense things. Like I at times have had textures of something I would touch. I could feel the texture of it. And I feel that's happened with all of you to some degree. But it's something that, how many of you at times relate that to being out of the body and traveling, astral travel, and not just a dream? Hands if you do. Well, I feel that the world's energy right now is getting a little crazy. And with all the events in the world that are occurring, and a lot of it's nature connected, we're having so many things occur. Have any of you noticed that people are more irritable, more short-tempered, and that they're more aggressive with things? I mean, I've seen people on the highway doing things that we were gone for the weekend and went camping on the Allegheny and canoed there. And on the way back, we had a number of vehicles that were just crazy drivers. And I mean, high speed, crazy drivers on S curves and everything. And it's like, I look at people right now, they're not sure how to handle all the energy and what's been going on in the world around us. And they may not recognize it consciously themselves, but they're getting more irritated. They're becoming short-tempered. You know, I heard about after the Bills game, you know, there was fistfights at one intersection where people got out of their cars and was fistfighting. And it's like, you look at all the energies and the craziness that's going on. We need to be very aware of doubly looking at where we're anchoring and centering ourselves, and being anchored in a way of being calmer and not allow ourselves to be caught up in that energy. It's very easy to get caught up in that energy. And as long as we're aware of it, we bring more calmness in our lives, and we don't have the craziness that other people are having. I was watching it happen during the end of season here at Lloydale. I was watching people and how irritated people could be. And I was witnessing that, you know, for quite a while. So it's really an interesting energy to realize in the world that's going on, how many weather changes we're having, all the tornadoes and the floods and the hurricanes. And I mean, just amazing amount of stuff happening. And to be in an environment where you're thinking about safety and you're thinking about the physical world, I know each one of you to some degree have thought about the physical world in a sense of where are we living, what kind of environment are we in, what kind of environment or stress in the environment is going to be occurring. You know, where I'm living in Lloydale, I feel very safe here and very comfortable here. But I know that, for example, all the things that are going on in the weather, and like Florida and they're having difficulties in that area along the East Coast, all the flooding through the Carolinas and all. I just find it amazing. People do not make the connection between our chaos and nature follows the chaos. When we get in a chaotic energy, I feel nature gets in a chaotic energy. And it comes right back at us in a very natural manner. And we need to be alert and aware now, how centered are we? And if we just put out that intent and desire to be focused and be centered, we will be. Because what we're doing is anchoring ourselves a bit better and being more centered in our spiritual gifts and ability, and our mediumship especially. Now, again, mediumship with healing, mediumship with mediumship. To allow ourselves to be in tune in that way is a very important factor. You know, I look at all the things happening in nature, and I find it pretty amazing that a lot of people in the world are just dealing with the physical world, the physical mind, the physical thoughts. That's all they're into, and that's all they want to know about. You know, they're more interested in the football game than they are anything else. And I look at the mentality of how many people are shifting into such an aggressive and negative energy. I see it on the highway. I see people driving in the way they are, short-tempered, very angry, very aggressive people. And I look at those energies and realize that's in the world, not just where we are, not just our personal experiences, it's in the world. So we need to be aware there of rebalancing ourselves in a meditative manner. And when you start to feel like you're out of sync, to recenter yourself again, be it a little meditation or a prayer, just recenter yourself again. It only takes a moment and you're back on track. But that'll make a huge difference and bring more balance.
Jane has a question.
You have a question, Jane?
I do. It kind of, the whole thing kind of ties in with what you're talking about. You mentioned your grandma would send you thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, so what if you, like, with all this chaos and everything going around, what if you're stressed out or irritated with somebody? You know, are they getting those bad thoughts too? How do you, like, for example, I'll give you an example. My daughter, you're talking about the hurricane.
Yeah.
She got hurricane insurance, but they were supposed to go to the Outer Banks. So to make a long story short, they thought they were going to cancel, and they told us they were going to go to Illinois. So then she left Saturday with 2 toddlers and her husband, and I get this text of a lake. They were going to go see where Lincoln was born, okay? And I said, where's the lake? You know, I haven't Googled it, but I mean, I think he was like born in a cornfield. Where is this lake? Well, it was the ocean. And they had just taken off and gone down to Virginia, or to Outer Banks. And I mean, it's just like a mess down there. And we're just all flabbergasted and just a little bit irritated. I mean, she's right in the middle of that chaos. And so she's mad because everybody is like just shocked, you know, and
Yeah.
how do you not send irritated thoughts to somebody? I mean, or people you work with. I mean, people you work with, it's the same thing. They'll I went to sit down at our meeting, and this guy pulls the chair right out from under me, and he thought he was being funny, and he sits in there, and he said, well, I thought you were pulling it out for me. I mean, this is not funny. I mean, it is, but it's not, you know. He was just, how do you maintain, what kind of a little meditation or prayer or something do you say while this is going on?
Well, like an energy there with that, with your daughter, for example, she's caught up in a chaos energy, and she considers the chaos energy perfectly normal.
I guess.
And by her thinking it's perfectly normal, that's where she's going to be drawn to, and she'll be drawn into circumstances that have chaos going on around them.
Well, I mean, that's just, how could you do that? I mean,
well, see, you and I would look at it that way, but the problem being is she lives in her own chaotic energy. Therefore, the chaotic gravitates to the chaotic. So here's the chaotic energy happening in the physical world, and she's drawn there to go there. And she has to make her mind up whether she's going to allow herself to be in that position. And in a sense that it could be dangerous too. And it's danger through nature more than mankind, but I mean, it's, you know, a danger.
Well, she said it was fine down there. I guess, in that little pocket. She won't tell me where they are. I mean, it's just so unlike her. But I mean, people are just, you're right, they are crazy. And I mean,
Well,
she's
see,
not usually like that, but everybody seems like that lately.
well, see, this is what I notice with people and reading for people. I read for people daily all the time, and they're from all over the world. So I get people, and I have a good taste of where people are at mentally and emotionally and the circumstances they're experiencing, experientially experiencing. And it's been crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
And family energy has been right at the peak of that. I mean, I haven't had a reading yet that they weren't upset about family and what was going on and someone trying to maneuver or manipulate someone else. And I've had a lot of that. And I've also had a lot where people are losing someone in their family or they lost someone and there's someone in the family trying to manipulate the inheritance. And I've seen that happen time after time recently, more so than usual. And it's something that's pretty amazing how many times people do that and how manipulative they become. Like a child threatening the mother that I'm going to go live with grandma and grandma will give me what I want because you're not giving me what I want. And I see this as they're adults. They're in their 30s and 40s and they're playing these little games like a small child. And like her not telling you where she's at, that's a little game she's playing of control and she wants to be in control. So I'm not going to tell you, and in essence, it makes you worry more and wonder more. But in her mind, I'm in charge.
It's just crazy.
So you let go of it, and you just say, "Hey, have a great time."
I did. That's what I said.
And send her thought and prayer in a positive way, and that's fine. And whatever she does, she does.
So that's where you say your God bless them thing?
Yep. God bless them somewhere else, preferably further away. And at this point, that's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And it's worrying you. So how much control does she want to have over you by worrying you even more by not even saying where she's at?
Well, I feel that she'll be okay. And in part of that, not just that. I mean, everybody, it's like you said with your grandmother. I mean, so if you're irritated with whoever it is, how can you can say a little, please, Lord, help me not be irritated? Or what do you send, like just the God bless you thing? Or how do you?
Well, I just send out the thought to them that they're in harmony in whatever lesson they need to learn. They're learning it, they're gaining from it, and they're achieving. And I let it go at that. And I just send them the energy and thought that whatever they're needing to learn, may they learn it in the smoothest and most positive manner. And I let it go at that level. And that way you're not confronting it with your own anger. You're just letting it go. And that way you're not building the anger in yourself.
So the most positive level can not include me in the middle of
right.
it.
Exactly. Neutralize yourself and neutralize the situation. God bless her somewhere else. That's fine. She'll be fine. You late and you let go of it and you deliberately quit thinking about her and you deliberately quit asking her questions. If you call her on the phone, you don't ask questions.
Right.
You're having a good time. That's great.
That's what I told her. Have a wonderful vacation.
I'd reverse the energy on her because she's trying to maneuver and manipulate it. I'd reverse the energy on her and I wouldn't want to know nothing. I mean, it would just be a total zero.
That's what my mom said. She was not going to ask her one thing about her vacation.
Yeah. I mean, if she wants to hold that over you and have that power of maneuvering, I would just neutralize the whole thing there.
Yeah.
Won't ask her a thing about it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Next month, October 30th, we'll be doing the show again, and we'll see what we can do with the class. And if you guys have anything that you really feel a need to check out and understand, if you send us
email, message, whatever, phone call, I don't care. Any way they want.
If you want to send a thought out that way, we'll be able to answer questions when we do the next broadcast. And it's been fun tonight. It's been a good energy. I've enjoyed it very much.